Hey, how you doing? I'm Dan McGee. Welcome to the garage. I thought we'd take a trip back to 1978. So in 1978, um, January, I had just graduated high school, and I was couldn't wait actually to graduate. Couldn't wait. But then after I graduated, actually it wasn't even, I was thinking it was about a week after, but it really wasn't. It was pretty much that night of graduation that it occurred to me, okay, I graduated, now what? So it's really strange at how sometimes you can't wait for something to happen, and then once it happens, you you get all kind of freaked out about it. I know I did. But it worked out, worked out fairly well. I graduated in January. By April, January, February, March, maybe March, probably March, I got my first real job, and I got it at a a custom woodworking place where we made custom furniture. So in high school, I pretty much that's what I did. I took all the shop classes, the wood shop, and that's pretty much was the curriculum that I really did good at, and the rest of it I just did to pass. So anyhow, so I got my first job at a woodworking place, and um 285 an hour. So I was rolling in dough. I think I would was bringing home uh little over $100 a week. And believe it or not, I thought I was rich. So it's just funny how, when you don't have anything, how any money at all makes a big difference in your life, and it makes you feel, you know, like I said, I felt rich. So, I mean, for the first time, I was able to um, buy records or 8 tracks or pretty much, and go out to Burger King if you wanted to. But when you're 18 years old, that's, that's your priority. You're not spending money on buying a car or insurance or any of that stuff at that age. That comes a little later, but sooner than you would hope. But anyhow, I got my first job at that woodworking place. It was an awesome job. It lasted for about a year and a half, and I learned a lot in that year and a half because it was a small shop. So we built dressers, um, nightstands, big china cabinets. Even built chairs and couches in there. So, and the whole shop was only at its peak was probably 5 guys. So it was a very small shop, but like I said, it for a year and a half, I learned basically how to produce woodworking in a small area, and making a living at it. So between high school and that first job, I basically made my career in woodworking. But anyhow, uh, 1978. So in 1978, um, if I wanted to go out and buy an album, um, the place that we would go would either be Kmart in Bridgeview or Burbank Records. And I know there were other places, but I honestly can't remember what other places sold records. I'd imagine maybe Zaire. Um, but again, I can't really remember. Oh, and I guess if you went to Ford City, but Ford City was not convenient to go to, so we would normally stick to either Kmart and Bridgeview or Burbank Records. So in excuse me, in 1978, I probably would have been looking for this album. It was like a big album in 1978. So it's the original Van Halen album. It's the one that basically introduced them, and it had tons of hits on it. So some of the songs on it were You Really Got Me, Jamie's Crying, On Fire, Running with the Devil, I'm the One, Ain't Talking About Love, Little Dreamer, Feel Your Love Tonight, Atomic Punk, Eruption, and Ice Cream Man. So this album was 10 times platinum, by the way. So this is a remake, a repress of this album. This has been out of print or press for a really long time, actually. So this is it's a cool album. It's extra thick, heavy. It's what they call 180 gram vinyl, but it's really good, really nice. Came with a nice insert. Unfortunately, I can't play any of it because YouTube and Facebook will make me take it down. So another album that I probably would have picked up is this one, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. So this actually came out in 1977, but I remember that everybody was talking about it, how good it was. But honestly, in 1977 or 1978, I'm not sure if I really would have bought this album, only because I was into really, more rock, really hard rock stuff. But, through the years, I heard every single song on this album 100 times, and it turns out it's an awesome album. So again, this is one of those repressings. And again, they're not just repressing it, they're remixing it with today's technology, and it's just amazing at how good it sounds. Now I remember when CDs were coming out, I've got tons of CDs. I've got stacks. I've got this. I've got drawers full of CDs. So I remember everybody talking about CDs. They're the best sound you could get, far superior than any vinyl, better than cassettes, better than 8-tracks, but pretty much everything is better than an 8-track, which I've got. I got my share of those too. I don't have a player for them, but I can't get rid of them because when I drove around in the 1970s, this is pretty much what I had in my car. I didn't have a cassette player. I had 8-tracks. So they're like old friends. Can't get rid of them, even though I don't have a player for them. Who knows? They may come back around like the vinyls did, but probably not, because they don't hold up like a vinyl does. So, all right. So we're talking about the albums. So yeah, we would really, most of my friends wouldn't buy albums unless they had a really good stereo. which I didn't. I don't think I even had a stereo in 1978. In fact, I know I didn't. I didn't have a stereo. So my purchases would always be 8 tracks, actually, because that's what I had in my cars and van. In 1977, we got a new radio station called The Loop, 97.9. In fact, I don't even think it was .9 back then because it was 98. Because it wasn't digital, I don't think, back then. So it was just 98 on your FM dial. And then later on, when it went digital, it became 97.9. But I know I spent a lot of my time in the morning listening to Steve Dahl, which eventually became Steve Dahl, Gary Meyer. And then later on, they brought in Kevin Matthews. And then even later, they brought in Jonathan Brandmeier. After I think Steve Dahl went to another station. I can't remember which one. He went to a bunch of them actually. But Brandmeier actually was really good too. And actually Howard Stern had a when he was I forgot what you call it when you are being broadcast all over the place, all the different station. Yeah, he was in Howard Stern was pretty popular for a while too. And then they brought in this guy Mancow, which I never really got into him at all. By the time Mancow came around, I think I was done listening to radio, and I was just listening to my 8 tracks or other radio stations. So anyhow, I think that's about all. This is going on long enough, but I'm just curious, like where if you remember, where did you buy your albums, and about how old were you, or what year was it? Like, if you were in the 1990s and you see the, if you were born in the 80s and you were buying stuff in the 90s, was Burbank Records still even there, or was anybody even buying records? I don't think anybody was buying records in the 90s. I think they were started buying CDs. So if you get a chance, pull out, if you still got a record player and old albums, give them a listen, because honestly, after listening to my CDs for 30 years and then going back to vinyl, the vinyl actually sounds fantastic. I was pretty much brainwashed that CDs were the way to go. And I probably would have always believed that until I got the urge to revisit vinyl. But, pull out that vinyl if you got a record player and give it a listen. Clean them first, because otherwise they're not going to sound good. Well, that's about all. Cheers to ya. Thanks for watching. Please give it a quick like on YouTube. Talk to you later.